This is Deep Dive. I'm Fei Fei. The high-profile whirlwind surrounding the e-commerce unit of China's tutoring giant New Oriental has finally come to an end. The dispute began with a so-called essay writing incident, which turned out to be a promotion gimmick and ended up with the ouster of the CEO of Oriental Selection, the e-commerce firm under New Oriental. And teacher-turned-sensational live streamer Dong Yuhui eventually got his promotion thanks to the passionate support from netizens. The impacts of the incident affected more than the HR aspect, as both the company's stock prices and number of online followers plummeted as the dispute unfolded. Some claimed this was all office politics, while others blamed the so-called fandom culture for fueling the dispute. They even suggested a complete overhaul of the star-oriented business model. Why has this incident gone viral? How will it impact the future of the company? And in a larger picture, what lessons can other enterprises in China's burgeoning live streaming sector learn? For this, I spoke with my colleague Gao Junya, who's been closely following Oriental Selection since its founding in 2021. Why did the incident spark so many discussions, basically causing a stir here in China?
Yes, I think, this dispute is actually originates from the so-called little composition controversy. We know that Oriental Selection has been carrying out some special live streaming marketing for several provinces of China so far. And one of its live streamers, usually Dong Yuhui, not always him actually, but most of the time it's Dong. He would pre-record, let's say, a promotional video for certain provinces that they are conducting the live streaming, selling local products. And the video, I believe you've already watched several of them, because the videos usually come with beautiful, I should say, poetic words depicting the history, culture, people, and basically everything of a certain province.
When talking about Shanxi, you may remember a young man in white
And
from this land.
this is the same case, actually, while they were doing the special live streaming for northeastern China's Jilin province earlier this month.
Jilin is beautiful in all seasons, especially in winter. Nature gives
And Dong Yuhui presented a promotional video, which of course was quite popular. However, something happened here. The editorial team of Oriental Selection, they pinned a reply to a comment asking, who's the mastermind behind this promotional, let's say, script? And the editorial team said the promotional content was prepared and written by the team, not solely by its top live streamer, Dong Yuhui. So this led to the outburst of anger from Dong's fans, and they are accusing the company taking advantage of Dong to make huge profits and not paying him what he deserved. And now the company is planning to get rid of him, or at least reducing his personal influence on the platform. So during that period, when we browse some news portals and different posts, they're all discussing this dispute. And even those discussions, those analyzing videos, they also gains a lot of views and likes. This is the influence of the internet. It also reflects how popular live streaming is here in China, and how popular actually Dong Yuhui and the Oriental Selection behind him is. So I think this is basically the focal point of this dispute, and why it has sparked so many discussions here in China. There is a figure I noticed on December the 16th, while Dong Yuhui and Yu Minhong, the founder and chair of New Oriental, they appeared in the same live streaming house, for some clarifications of this dispute. It gained over 38 million views. That can also tell how influential this whole dispute is here in China.
And let's slow it down a little bit, and coming back to Dong Yuhui himself. And can you explain to us what makes Dong Yuhui and his team's live stream house, the Oriental Selection, so special and so popular? So I know yourself have definitely watched some of the live streams by Dong Yuhui and by the Oriental Selection. So what drove you yourself to pay attention to that live stream in the first place?
This has something to do with the rise of live streaming, marketing, and also different live streaming platforms like Kuaishou. I was not in China over the past 5 years. And when I came back this April, it's just amazed me how booming this whole industry is. When you open those platforms, many of the users there, they are having live streaming, they're selling products. And speaking of Dong Yuhui and Oriental Selection, they are quite attractive for me because we know Oriental Selection was established by New Oriental, that's that famous education institution here in China. So I think there is definitely this brand value behind it. For me, if I buy products from their platform, I would think, the product must have good quality, and they came from a good source. And also I think something special they are doing is they're promoting the products for farmers here in China, or even for some small scale farmers here in China. That's why we were also talking about that special live streaming they are doing, because they want to promote local products and for let's say some even grassroots people. So I think that's also one of the characteristics of this platform that attract me. They're doing something good. And for Dong himself, I think he's so unreal because he's quite talented, I should say. He's 30 years old this year, but it looks like he's been reading all those history books, literature books of China. Watching his live streaming, it sounds like we go to a certain classroom or auditorium. We are having a lecture from this quite eloquent lecturer who's giving us a speech, on China's history, on China's literature. So it's quite educational as well. I think it also, to some extent, it says this whole live streaming thing, they're going towards this knowledge-based direction. If those live streaming, they're producing some knowledge for the users, for the customers, it could be more attractive. And personally, I would pay for that.
But I'm also very curious here because when we are speaking of Oriental Selection, which is basically a very big live stream house, but its parent house, the New Oriental Education Technology Group, started off as a sort of tutoring and education company. So I'm really curious about the turn of business that the company decided to take. Why did it decide to start live stream? And is it because live streaming is just so popular and so big right now in China?
Of course, it is one of the reasons, live streaming is so profitable. It's been growing all the time, and it's been taking up more and more proportion of this e-commerce here in China. At some certain periods, tutorial thing is under certain regulations. I think New Oriental, they're also trying to make some breakthrough to look for a new direction for development. Live streaming, I think is a better choice for them. And also Yu Minhong, the founder and chairman of New Oriental, Well, he's claiming he's from a rural area, and he has a certain liking and linking actually for the rural area and for farmers, and he's trying his best to do something good for farmers. And that's why, from the first place when they started their live streaming, they're saying the main products they're going to sell is agricultural products. I think what's happening now actually matches what he's planning. He's selling agricultural products, although now he's selling more, various products, because he's already such a Oriental Selection has become such an influential platform. Of course, so many products are going to their platform. Besides agricultural products, now we can also find let's say clothes, electronic devices, and anything we can find there. But I think still the majority of the products are agricultural products. And also one thing is that they are now developing their own supply chain, and they have their own stock houses and their own sources to collect such products, such agricultural products. So I think basically this is what they've been doing from the first place. They are different from traditional live streaming we are seeing here in China, because they are filling a certain void at the market, because they are bringing knowledge, and also they are trying to bring something good for the farmers, let's say.
So according to you, that before the Oriental Selection live houses, and also before Dong Yuhui's fame in the live streaming industry, let's call it, China's live streaming is a little bit different from what we could see from, what Oriental Selection have been live streamed.
Of course, I think we've know Li Jiaqi, we've know Xinba, those top live streamers, basically they're still selling products. To some extent, they are not that different from a certain, let's say, salesman. But Oriental Selection, they are different, because their live streamers are basically still the teachers from New Oriental. They were the teachers from New Oriental, and now they've been live streaming for their new company, Oriental Selection. So these teachers, they come with knowledge. They come with their certain way of presenting things in classrooms. So I think, to me, they are quite attractive. I'll give you an example. When Dong Yuhui was selling stuff, actually he's not there to sell certain products. He's there maybe teaching people a certain poem or a certain history in China. And then he would say, oh, you guys can buy things by yourself, buy anything, from this chart. So he's not selling particular products. Basically, most of the time, he's teaching us knowledge. I think that's what's different from other live streaming platforms.
And then let's come back to the incident this time between Dong Yuhui and I think his team, basically. A lot of speculation is that the reason for Dong Yuhui and his team started this dispute was sort of backed by the CEO of that company, the Oriental Selection, surnamed Sun. And then there is another boss involved, Yu Minghong, as you mentioned. He's the chair of the parent company, the New Oriental. So what kind of role did they play in, let's say, Dong Yuhui's rise to fame, and also in this incident, which is called the small script, 小作文, here in China?
I think Sun actually has played an important role in developing this Oriental Selection. He's the CEO. Basically, he's the mastermind behind the development of it. He's been selecting those live streamers. Of course, Dong was selected by him. And he's been developing certain strategies for the company. For example, they're developing their own brands of certain like agricultural products and even some underwear, their own brands. That means they have their own supply chain, they have their own stock houses, and also Sun has been developing this new app for Oriental Selection. I think it's also a very good strategy for the company. Yu Minghong basically, he's the chairman of this parent company. I don't think he would deal with the daily operation of this Oriental Selection, but definitely their platforms, because New Oriental is influential here in China, and Yu Minghong himself is quite influential here in China. They themselves would bring certain fans or certain flows to their live streaming platform. I think to some extent, Dong Yuhui's rise, also his popularity is from the first place is due to this platform, and also due to the two persons we've been talking about.
It sounds like, they are partners and they are a team, and it's in line, the development of the live stream house, which is very popular in China, and it's in line with the parent company, the New Oriental Education's overall strategy of development. Then why would a crisis suddenly break out within the team?
This whole thing, it derives from this little composition thing. But at first place, the fans, they just won't give it a go. I think Dong Yuhui himself has been make a little bit explanation on what was happening.
其实本来的事情很小，就是那天我觉得这个
He's not blaming the company. Well, he's saying it's just a misunderstanding between him and the editorial team. But personally, I think from the company's perspective, of course, they have different standpoints and interest from Dong. Of course, I don't think any company would allow a certain live streamer to be so popular and to be the one and only, let's say, the pillar of the company's profits. I don't think it would be good for the company's sustainable development. So I think the editorial team's move, like they've pinned that post, also reflects certain thoughts of the management. So that's what's being happened. Of course, no company would allow a certain person to be so powerful, and even I think he's more influential than the chairman and the founder, and even then, maybe to some people, even more influential than this Oriental Selection itself, because we can see when this dispute broke out, the followers of this Oriental Selection has been dropping from 31 million to 28 million. Before they came out to make some clarifications, and now the number has picked up, but we can see the influence of Dong, and what's the company being worried about, and also we see that the stock of Oriental was dropped. When the dispute was happening. This is the reality. This is how a top live streamer can influence the company's operation. So the traditional management of a certain company definitely can't match the development of e-commerce and the live streaming business. So they have to change their mind, like to balance the profits distribution and to also meet the demands of their certain live streamers and also the company's other staff.
But then would you say, the fans of Dong Yuhui played quite important role in this incident?
Of course, I believe so. I think this whole incident, when it broke out, it's because of the fans. They're so unsatisfied with the company's move. They are saying they're trying to get rid of Dong Yuhui, and even the fans went to other live streaming platform and asking other companies to hire Dong Yuhui. Why the CEO was out? I think Oriental Selection has to reply to the demand of the fans. The fans they asked for an answer. This whole dispute was there. It happened. Someone has to take responsibility for what the editorial team had done. I'm not saying yes to those fans or to the certain fandom culture. And I think Dong Yuhui himself, on different occasions, he also said no to fandom culture. But this is what happened. The fans are there because they are online influencers. Of course, they would draw a certain number of fans. Some of them are rational and wise. Some of them are not that wise, and they would make some let's say unsatiable demands and unwise demands. So the fans actually they played a significant role in this whole dispute. We've all noticed that at some live streaming, those while Dong Yuhui was promoting certain products, or he's introducing a certain place, those fans they would scream. Even from our phone, we can hear some fans were screaming his name. So I don't think this is the wise decision, to do that to your, let's say, to your idol. We need to know what's your idol's role. What's his assignments. He's been doing something important, and you've been interrupting that.
And right now, the incident has quieted down a lot compared to a few days ago. How did the Oriental Selection or its parent house, the New Oriental Education, is eventually deal with the crisis or the disputes happening between Dong and his team and also the CEO?
I think this is actually a lesson for many companies to learn. One of your staff is so influential, and he's even gaining more popularity than your own company itself. So how can a company manage that? In this single case, Dong Yuhui was appointed as a high level partner of the company, and he's been appointed as the vice president of their newly established culture and tourism department. And he's also going to be the a new title, a cultural assistant for the chairman, Yu Minhong. So he's going to stay in the company, at least for the short future we can foresee. And the question would came to the company: how can you keep this, let's say, this top live streamer, to keep him still loyal to the company and to still make profits for the company? Like I said, I think they have to change their mindset. The traditional way of management for a certain company, you just give them a certain salary that's not reflects their own value. It's outdated. Definitely, it is not for this live streaming business.
What about Sun, the CEO himself?
Oh, yes. Actually, Sun, he was ripped off this title of CEO. Actually, he's still playing an important role in the development of Oriental Selection. Sun, actually, he was and he is the biggest contributor to the development of Oriental Selection. Has been developing all these strategies and making these huge decisions for the company. So he's still staying there. He will be still working with the team, especially with the top boss, and to guide the company's development. They've been developing different sub accounts, focusing on different products. So Sun has contributed a lot, and he's still guiding the further development of Oriental Selection. So he's still there, yeah. And let's come back to the company's mindset. Yu Minhong himself, he made these remarks after this dispute. He's saying that if we are still manage a company like from that top level, like we're the big boss and we pay certain salary to certain staff, for a traditional company it's okay, but for an emerging live streaming company and e-commerce company, definitely a no for this kind of management.
Yeah, it sounds like, from after this incident, a lot of the management or companies are realizing that it's no longer just the power play within the team or within the company, between the boss and the staff members, but also, like we just discussed, fans and the market played a very important role in this play or in this game. So what exactly are the lessons could other companies learn from this incident of the Oriental Selection?
Now, Oriental Selection, they made some adjustment for Dong Yuhui. They've been given him high-level positions and giving him a new account to run. From my own perspective, it's not enough. Dong Yuhui is only a single case. What about other live streamers? Because Dong Yuhui is not the only influential one. Other live streamer, let's say Ming Ming or Yo-Yo, they've all both have their own fan club. They have their own certain base of fans that can bring certain profits to the company. Not only the live streamers. What about the whole team? Like we're saying the editorial team. What about the team who's running the equipment, who's taking videos? So I think the company, they needs to at least to increase, for me, they need to at least to increase the salary for all of them. And the salary is not based on traditional companies' evaluation of performance. It should be based on their live streaming business, the profits they've been gaining there, and the development they've been enjoying there. So that's something they have to think about. This is such a huge market here in China. Definitely, many companies have been trying to make some adjustments, and so I think Oriental Selection, to some extent, they also need to make such adjustments. And not only Oriental Selection and other companies as well. Different companies, actually, they're quite different because they have different live streaming mode. Because if we're saying some top live streaming companies on China's e-commerce platforms, some of them actually they're family business. It's not that hard, actually. There would be disputes, but it's not that hard for them to figure out how to distribute this whole profits and interest. And some of them are like Oriental Selection, although Oriental Selection has its own characteristics, but they're revolving around a certain influencer. For example, like 交个朋友, it's been relying on Luo Yonghao for a long time, and the fans of Luo Yonghao would come to their platforms to consume. But now, at least over the past 1 year, Luo Yonghao has been reducing his. I think this is by himself, not only by the company. They've made a certain consensus. He's been trying to reduce his own influence to the company, and they are doing good, actually. That's also something Oriental Selection needs to look at.
The dispute surrounding Oriental Selection has been settled for now. But for any other traditional company attempting to enter an emerging industry, one thing deserves more attention: how to adjust the way of management. There's a saying that the innovation of a company is not only about technology, but also about management and culture. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Deep Dive. If you like what you just heard, don't forget to follow us on your podcast platform. Just search for Deep Dive. You can also leave comments to tell us what you want to know about China and the rest of the world. This episode is brought to you by me, Fei Fei, my colleagues Zhang Zhang and Qizhi. Special thanks to CGTN radio reporter Gao Junya. I'll see you in the next one.